Hello and welcome to ULI-Philadelphia. This is Emerging Trends in Real Estate 2008. In Podcast 6, we'll hear the keynote luncheon address by Philadelphia Mayor-elect Michael Nutter.
It's been a terrific morning, packed with information about both the national and local markets. We've heard a lot about our trends and have gained some insight into the market, recognizing both opportunities and obstacles. But in our region and in Philadelphia, our forecasts may already be stale, because as you know, as the citizens of Philadelphia have elected a new mayor, and as he is fond of saying, it is a new day. Michael Nutter will take office in January as mayor of Philadelphia and brings with him a vision for change which can transform our city and our region beyond the range of any of the predictions or discussions we have heard this morning. Michael's a member of the Urban Land Institute and understands the role that responsible leadership in the use of land plays in creating and sustaining Philadelphia and our region as a thriving community and is an enthusiastic supporter of our mission. I'm proud also to announce that ULI-Philadelphia has been awarded a community action grant from the Urban Land Institute Foundation for $25,000, which has been matched by our local district council for a total of $50,000 now to fund Philadelphia Mayor's Forum on real estate development and infrastructure. And after the discussion this morning on infrastructure, you can see how timely that is. These funds should provide the start of a series of forums that will convene stakeholders, including city officials, planners, and other land use professionals, developers, and civic leaders to develop a shared vision for the future of Philadelphia and build consensus on major land development issues and priorities. We hope, as an organization, to be actively working with Mayor Nutter on this and other initiatives during his administration. Please join me in welcoming the man who will lead our city and region into greatness, our next mayor, Michael Nutter.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Ken, thank you so much for that introduction. And thank you all. I know that there was an exciting level of activity going on out in the hallway, and I'm sorry that my crazy schedule interfered with the pre-luncheon activities. In the past, I normally used to come to those and try to stretch them out as long as possible before the speaker came up. Now I'm unfortunately the guy who might have to rush things along a little bit. It's well, yeah, it's a new day and a new way. Thank you. This past year and a half has truly been an incredible journey for me and my family. You've gotten to know Lisa and Olivia, our entire campaign organization, and many of you have been with me every step along the way, whether it was during my time in City Council or this past year and a half on one of the most incredible personal journeys that anyone could be a part of. The Urban Land Institute had me out during the course of the campaign season. I've learned a tremendous amount from this organization. I can assure you that I will continue to rely upon you, but quite frankly, by the end of my comments, I think relying upon will be an understatement. Based on a few things that I'd like to share with you. And I do want to seriously thank my good friend Ken Balin for inviting me to this event. When he did, I said I gave him every possible caveat that I could. One, not taking the election for granted, but two, having no idea what the day or so after the election was going to be like. I think I'm up since Tuesday. I think I'm up to about 6 hours sleep, and hoping to try to catch up over the course of the weekend. It's been an exciting 2 or 3 days. For those of you who don't know, let me just mention to you that about an hour and 15 minutes ago, just had a press conference on the northwest corner of City Hall announcing my selection for the next finance director of the City of Philadelphia. Some of you may have heard that yesterday when I was at the Committee of 70. That was the day after the election. Just trying to keep track. The Committee of 70 had me out first thing yesterday morning, and I made a speech regarding the call to public service and our search for the best and brightest, and I'll be talking about that in a few minutes. The new finance director for the City of Philadelphia will be Rob DeBow, who is presently the executive director at the Pennsylvania Intergovernmental Cooperation Authority. I'm bringing Rob back because he is the best and brightest when it comes to the city's budget, 5-year plan. He knows where all the money is buried, and he's probably buried half of it himself. So I thought I'd bring him back and have him tell me where the rest of it is. So that's going to be our new finance director. Let me talk a little bit about what's just happened in the course of this year, and then to talk about some of the future. Many of you will recall when I announced my candidacy now close to a year and a half ago, in July of 2006, just to show you what Philadelphia politics is really like. I mean, most of you know that most major cities across the country, there are 4 major sports: football, basketball, baseball, and hockey. Philadelphia is quite unique of many major American cities. We, of course, have 5, the 5th being politics. It is full contact, only adults allowed to play. You cannot wear a helmet. And so in that fine tradition, when I announced my candidacy last summer, I was the first announced candidate. But only in Philadelphia can the first announced candidate automatically be in 5th place. I was in 5th before the race started, and I was the first person in. So that gives you a sense of where we stood in this campaign. And other people came in, high-quality folks. It was a traditional, high-energy Democratic primary, a lot of candidates in, very well-known, very well-funded, great reputations, and then there was me. 14 and a half years in City Council, tackled possibly every major challenge the city has faced over the last 15 years, the only candidate with city government experience, lowered taxes, put cops on the street, ethics reform, campaign finance reform, played by the rules, which of course people said, well, there's no way in the world that guy's getting elected. So, but something very unique happened. After all the political pundits had their say and made their prognostications, one last thing took place. Well, then the voters got to have an opportunity to have their voice heard in this process. And so that's why I continued to work so hard in the course of the general election, putting aside what the experts say, because you always work hard. You play the game out until there's no time on the clock. You play until the last out has been caught. I mean, whatever your analogy is, what it's really about is setting a certain standard for yourself. When you're in a 100-meter race, it really doesn't matter what the other guys are doing in the 5 or 6 other lanes. It really just matters what you do, and the standard that you hold yourself to, and the excellence upon which you judge what you do and how you do it. And so I was rewarded by the voters in May, coming out of a race where no one had any expectation that I could possibly win, given my record, yet capturing 37% of the vote, 40% of the African-American vote, 37% of the white vote in the city, numbers that no African-American candidate has ever attained in the history of the city of Philadelphia. Not only high, but balanced, because this is one big city. Many languages, many cultures, many races, many colors under the rainbow. But it's one big city, and the mayor of Philadelphia has to be able to lead this entire city into a new and bright future. And that's what happened in the Democratic primary. The voters spoke, and I really liked what they said. They said they wanted a leader who was different, and so we ran a different kind of race. And now we find ourselves coming out of this general election one of the highest percentage votes, and other people love to talk about those things. I wanted to win, and we wanted to win well, but we also wanted to win with a partnership of people all over this city and this region. So you'll hear me talk about the city and the region simultaneously, and you'll hear about it a lot, because I believe that the city's future is tied to developing better relationships with our partners in the suburbs around us. That Philadelphia, Bucks, Chester, Delaware, Montgomery counties are inextricably tied in a partnership and a relationship based on economics, based on geography, but also based on shared mutual interest in a variety of agenda items that transcend imaginary political boundaries that were drawn up by people possibly hundreds of years ago. And then there's just a little bit of a river and a bridge, actually a series of them, that tie us to Gloucester and Salem and Camden counties and Burlington across the Delaware River. This entire region is dependent upon the growth and development and reputation and marketing and branding and relationship and leadership that this city provides. And the mayor of Philadelphia has to step up and provide that kind of leadership. Let's talk a little bit about real estate and the great work that this organization does. I mentioned earlier that I will come to rely on you and ask for your help and support. I actually value good land use planning principles. I actually value having an up-to-date zoning code. I actually think that there are things that we can do to make growth and development easier and better, streamlined, and make our systems function and operate in a way that you can get in and get out. Get in and get out. And that we would have our city departments and agencies understand the nature of business. Because as you are in business, we are in business. We're a pretty big business. We're a $4 billion business. We have 22,000 employees. We have 1.5 million shareholders. We have a board of directors. I used to sit on that board. It's the Philadelphia City Council. And so as you try to invest your dollars, your hard-earned dollars, and take risk, we have to infuse in the minds of our public employees that every dollar that's invested in Philadelphia, every big building that's built in this city, every development that takes place is one more opportunity for us to enhance shareholder value. It's one more opportunity for us to generate more revenue. It's one more opportunity for us to provide better service, because we're a service organization. That's who we are. That's what we do. People don't call us because they want to ask how we're feeling or what the weather is or what do you think about one of our sports teams. They call because they need service and help. And we have to drive a customer service model in this city government that we are a business just like you are. And so in that context, time is money, and I understand that. Time is money. I want our employees to understand that every day that those plans sit on someone's desk, that project is not moving forward. Every day that happens, someone's not going to work. Every day that happens, we're not making money, and we're in the business of making money in order to provide service to enhance shareholder value. That's what we do. That's the kind of government that I want to run. This is a business. And we can have fun too. But we're going to make money. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so your help and your support in giving us ideas and strategies about how to make development and growth easier in Philadelphia. What kinds of strategies and practices should we use? Oh, I'm actually going to call upon you to come up with 10 immediate ideas that we can implement quickly to speed up the development process, that we have reviews taking place simultaneously within departments and agencies, not the go in this door and then wait for it to sit on someone's desk, and then you go to the next door and the next door and the next door. There's no reason in the world, with the use of technology and changing our systems, that an application or a development plan, once it comes into our shop, it's no reason that it can't go back out in 10 different directions to the agencies and departments that need to see it simultaneously. There's no reason in the world why we can't have a development review team that sees the plans all at the same time, calls that developer in. One has this question about X, somebody else has a question about Y, somebody else has a question about Z, and let us try to resolve this right now. I don't want to have a discussion about what you didn't do when you're pouring concrete and someone didn't see something and, oh, now we need to stop. We have to put an end to that. That disrupts the development process. That interferes with your ability to get things done. I'm not talking about short-circuiting the process. I'm not talking about cutting corners or making things dangerous or difficult. What we're talking about is a new way of conducting business in a straightforward fashion that actually makes some sense. And I'll give you the one line I always love. And that you'd actually be able to go into one of our departments or agencies or go into the basement of L&I, although you should not be spending any additional time in the basement of L&I because you actually should be able to get most of what you need to get off of that thing that Al Gore created called the Internet. And that you somehow, some way would come away with the notion that you'd be able to get a permit in your own lifetime. That it should not take forever to get development and growth here in this city. And that's the message that I want to get out throughout the city, the region, the state, the country, and the world. And I'm asking you, as ULI, one of the most respected real estate organizations anywhere in this country, to become the new ambassadors of growth and development for the city of Philadelphia. You will meet more people in a day, in a week, in a month, in the course of a year, than I will ever meet in a 4-year term or an 8-year term. You are the new ambassadors for growth and development in the city of Philadelphia. I need you to tell our story. Ken started a part of it. The voters made a decision. They want change. And they wanted a change agent to come in and shake things up. Well, I'm here. I start in 2 months. I need you to get the advance word out that Philadelphia is coming back on the scene, that this is a place that wants growth and development, that this is a place where we want people to come here and ply their trade or their fortune and make money and make this city grow and develop, that we are no longer just a city in the shadow of New York or Washington, D.C. I love those two places. They are incredible. Love to visit, always glad to come back. But they're convenient and they're accessible, but we're more affordable. That's why people in New York and Washington buy real estate here, because they can still afford it. We're more walkable. More people walk to work in Philadelphia than any major city in the United States of America. We have an incredible transportation network. 5 different pieces of equipment running around the city all day long. You can get anywhere in the region. We can work on some service issues. If we're going to pay the highest fare, we should have the best service. And there are things that we can do about our mass transit system, but it does work. And cities would pay billions of dollars to have the infrastructure that we have right here. We still have a waterfront yet to be developed, and no matter what controversy is going on down on Penn's Landing, there will be growth and development on Penn's Landing, and you need to get ready because we're going to be in the process soon of developing that waterfront unlike anything that we've done over the last 40 to 50 years, because all I've seen is a lot of study and a lot of work and a lot of talk and a lot of study and a lot of work and a lot of talk, and we are done. It is time to build. It is time to grow, and I need you to be a part of that growth and development right now. Lastly, some of you may know that I did a little bit of traveling during the period between the primary and the general, what we called our best practices tour. I went to New York and Chicago and Baltimore and D.C. and Harrisburg and Pittsburgh because I wanted to see what else was going on all across this country. We are so parochial sometimes in our thoughts that we assume as Philadelphians that the only ideas that we can utilize, the only ideas that we can have access to, of course, are the ones that we generate. Because why would we think that somebody somewhere else was doing something that would be of any importance to the city of Philadelphia? Well, I want to change that mindset. There are hundreds of things going on that are not only good here in the city that we don't talk about because we're so shy and we have a self-esteem problem, that why would we possibly brag about some of the good things that people are doing here in the city? Someone might look at us or ask us a question, and we're afraid that we might have to answer. But there are some great things going on, not only here in Philadelphia, but those cities that I mentioned and many others. I want to send the message that we're not only open for business, we're also open for new ideas. And if someone has an idea that can help this city, I will give all the credit to whoever came up with it from wherever it came from. Take it, reshape it, and apply it right here in Philadelphia. But what I also noticed in those cities, especially New York and Chicago and Baltimore, was that there are a lot of young people actively engaged in public service, that there are business people who left wherever they left, and maybe they made enough, or they created an economic environment for themselves that they could afford to come into public service. The one thing about public service, if you ever think that you're going to make a lot of money in public service, I'm here to tell you that's not going to happen. Now, some have tried. Some have tried. And they have kept the U.S. Attorney and the FBI here in Philadelphia very busy. It's a target-rich environment we've had for a long time, and we're seeking to put an end to that. But there's no higher calling than public service. There is no more honorable profession than to serve your fellow citizen. And so out of that series of tours and thinking about some things that have happened in the past, and I mentioned this, of course, yesterday at the Committee of 70, I issued yesterday a call to public service and community commitment, somewhat similar to what John Kennedy did back in the 60s, prior to running for president and subsequent to becoming president, that we need the best and brightest in our city government, that if we are actually going to change what we do, the quality of our ideas is certainly important, but no government anywhere can really get done what it needs to get done without the best talent, because that's what this is really all about. And so, as I've asked you to be ambassadors for growth and development all throughout this country, I'm also asking you locally to think about a temporary detour in your very successful careers to help us do the things that you already do best. And so getting that word out and spreading that word throughout the region and throughout the country would also help our effort. But I am asking some of you to think about the possibility of joining this administration at some of the highest levels to show us how you do what you do, to enhance your shareholder value, how you get growth and development to happen in your company or in other cities that you operate in, because we need that help as well. And that's what this call to public service is really all about. People taking a temporary detour in a career to come in and show us how we should be handling our facilities, how we can speed up the growth and development process. Tell us about what goes on in other locales, but give us some time to make this city better. We've opened our website, nutter2007.com. It's now the portal into our call to public service. Your help and support, and whether it's you individually or people in your company, the young rising stars who you think this might be a great opportunity not only for you to serve, but to get a different level of experience. And what I have to ask you to do is don't ask these young people to go away and then, well, maybe you'll have something possibly when you come back. I would suggest to you that they are doing a great service not only for the city, but also for your company. If you send the right message, that not only will there be something here for you, but it's also a way up through our own organization, because you've done something extraordinary. It should not be looked upon as a place to send people away to get them away from you. I mean, don't send me the folks that you don't want. I don't need them. I can do bad by myself. I don't need any additional help. And your company, I'm sure, will continue to thrive and grow. Now, since yesterday's announcement, we have received close to 400 resumes since yesterday morning at 9 o'clock, based on the one call and the newspaper reports. We need more. We want thousands of people to step up to the plate and say, I'm ready to serve because my city needs me. That's what this is really all about. And so I am enthusiastic about the future of this city. With your help and support, there is no reason in the world why Philadelphia will not be considered very shortly one of the best cities in the country, if not on an international scale, because we have much work to do and there are many challenges ahead of us. But I can assure you, from the moment I wake up in the morning until the time I go to sleep at night, all I'm thinking about is how to make this city better. This is what I do. I am a public servant, and I'm very proud of it. I want you to join me in the greatest turnaround of any American city over the last 50 years, that 25 years from now, your children or grandchildren are going to ask you, when they read about this, Mom, Dad, Grandmom, Grandpop, when the Renaissance period started in Philadelphia, what were you doing? I want you to be able to say, I stood with Mayor Nutter and I helped to make it happen. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I can take a couple questions before I go, and I just want to mention one other thing. Two big things happened this week. I mean, there was the election, and that was nice. But I've been asked to accept another position, which I regard of the highest possible honor, which is the honorary ULI membership chair. And so I am a member of ULI, and I'm asking all of you to make sure that you become members as well. That is the highest calling beyond public service that I could ever have as the ULI membership chair, only partially playing. But the other thing I do want to ask, that's a serious one. And the second is, as we move through this transition process, and we'll be making announcements about that, in addition to the call to public service, again, certainly your suggestions and ideas with regard to the kinds of changes that we will need to make, and many of which we should get those ideas as quickly as possible so we can run them through our transition process. If you go, again, to our website, you'll certainly find the ways to get in. Send us that information. Make sure you mention that we either met or talked at this particular forum, connected to ULI, so we know where to direct it. Let me take a couple questions before I have to go, which is really tight, right? Okay.
Mayor Nutter.
That might be two questions.
Chris Hager, I am the membership chair, so I welcome you as my assistant proudly.
Absolutely, thank you. You didn't get the memo? Yeah, things change pretty rapidly. Thank you. I look forward to working with you. Yes, sir.
Mr. Nutter, first off, congratulations. I think it's clear with the Circuit Center development that a great part of the Sierra Center development.
Sierra,
correct. A great portion of the benefit came from the tax abatements and some of the incentives of the Keystone Opportunity Zone. Yeah. My question to you is, what is your policy on the city wage tax and business privilege tax? I think it's stymieing development in Philadelphia.
Sure. When I was still in City Council, I had, I guess, some historic battles with the current administration about tax policy. Did have some success. We're presently in the third year of a 10-year guaranteed reduction in the Philadelphia city wage tax for residents and non-residents. That came into effect in 2004. It's fiscally responsible. It's incremental. You probably won't notice, an additional heaviness to your pocket, but it still sends the right message. And we have 7 years left on that guaranteed reduction in the wage tax. If we can do more, based on all the other challenges that we face, certainly I would like to see further reductions in the wage tax. I am, though, planning still aggressive reduction in our business privilege tax. It is one of the most onerous anywhere in the United States of America. There are some things you want to be number one at. High taxes is not one of them. So I'm trying to get off of that list, or at least get us a few pegs down. Business privilege tax, of course, has two components, the gross receipts portion and a net income. I plan to eliminate the gross receipts portion of the business privilege tax over a 5 to 7 year period of time and lower the net income portion of the BPT to the same level as the wage tax, and then have it go down from there. There should be no discrepancy between what a worker pays on his or her wages versus what the business person pays on essentially what their wages are, and I want to equalize those two taxes. I've talked already. I mean, there are only 12 other taxes here in the city, and in 2002, I guess it was, I worked to create the Tax Reform Commission. They laid out a blueprint for other actions we should take with regard to the other confusing array of taxes. The one thing I want to focus in on, though, is tax simplification. We have to make it easier for people to pay their taxes. And I don't want to take any work away from, our friends at KPMG or Pricewaterhouse or, Uncle Louie's tax service, but it should not be an incredible journey just to go and pay your taxes. And lastly, when you send us your check, we're actually going to cash it in a reasonable period of time. There's no reason for us not to hold on to that interest. As much as you'd like to hold on to it, I'd rather have it for myself. So let me take one last question, and then I've got to go.
Hi, I'm with the Weekly Press, and I wanted to know what your long-term plan is for retaining college graduates in the area.
Thank you. This city and region are so kind of richly blessed to have 83 of the finest colleges and universities anywhere concentrated in the United States of America. Again, unfortunately, as I talked about earlier, we're so shy about who we are or what we're about that we allow other cities and regions to somehow portray themselves as having more than we do. So the first thing is to better promote that and let people know the quality of the colleges and universities that we have. Second, I plan to open an office of college and university relations. I want to meet with all 83 of those presidents to make sure that the city government is interacting with them, whether they're in the city or not, that we're interacting with them and that we're on those college campuses on a regular basis, just like major corporations go to college campuses all the time. The city of Philadelphia should be on college campuses talking about our internship and mentorship programs all across our city departments and agencies, telling people the true story of what's going on here in Philadelphia, and then working with our Chamber of Commerce and many other corporate partners about beefed up internship and mentorship programs and opportunities. Young people fall in love with this city and this region when they get here, get a great education, but after the party and after the partying and graduation, at some point, mom and dad might have to cut off the credit card. They've got to get a job. And if they can't find a job here, they're going to New York, D.C., Chicago, North Carolina, San Francisco, and other places. There is no reason why we can't hold on to more of those young people, make Philadelphia a more presentable place, straighten out some of the things that have given us a bad reputation, whether it's crime, our lack of investment in public education, job creation, ethics challenges, supporting art and culture, getting our sustainability initiatives underway, supporting our park system, and as I mentioned earlier, growth and development on our waterfront. There are a million things that we should be doing to highlight the fact that we have all these young people here working with the college and university community and the business community. I think we can hold on to more of those young people and give them a reason to be here. Unfortunately, I've got to go. I'd love to stay here with you. But for this organization, let me lastly say, given some of the things that we plan to do and some of the excitement that's going on in Philadelphia, it is most appropriate for me to say to you that if you've been thinking about a real estate purchase or a development project here in the city, I would strongly encourage you to buy your real estate now because prices are going to be going up shortly because this city is about to take off and you want to be on the ground floor. Thank you very much.
Please join me again in thanking Mayor-elect Nutter for joining us. And please be assured, Mr. Mayor-elect, that we at the Urban Land Institute will be doing everything that we can to support your vision and to work with you through these, hopefully what will be next 8 years as you transform our city and our region. And so lunch is served. I think that this is really the end of our formal program, and thank you very much for coming. And I would like to take one moment and thank Susan Baltak, our Executive Director, and Jerry Lipp, our District Council Coordinator, for putting all of this together. It really is a significant job to coordinate one of these programs, and obviously this year in doing this one as a half-a-day program, I think feels like it came together pretty well, but you'll all be getting a survey form, and I really encourage you to give us your honest feedback on what we did well, what didn't go so well, so that we can, fix it up a little bit better and try and make the program even better next time. So And following up on the mayor's pitch about the membership, I was actually going to tell him that he was our honorary public policy head. He picked that up on his own because he knows what I'm doing. But if you are not a member, and if you are a member, and you're encouraged by what the mayor had to say about how we as an organization can work with him, and you'd like to do it through the auspices of the Urban Land Institute, engagement is really the theme right now this year. It's really about, we're a member-run organization. All of the work comes from the people that are sitting in the room. If you'd like to be part of that, we welcome your active involvement and look forward to working with you as time goes on. So feel free to email me or Susan Baltack, our district council coordinator, or Craig Shelter or Joe Egan, who head up our public policy committee, and any of them would be welcome to include you in the mix. Thanks very much.
We hope you enjoyed this Urban Land Institute podcast recording. If you have comments or suggestions about these podcasts, please email steve@professionalpodcasts.com. We produce these programs in the studios of Professional Podcasts in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. For the Urban Land Institute, this is Steve Lubetkin. Thanks for being with us, and take good care.